Chapter 11, Moon Gods. O Nana, Enki purifies the dwelling for you. He makes the dwelling shine for you. He consecrates the heavens for you. He makes the earth shine for you. Hymn to Nana. According to the 19th century clairvoyant Rudolf Steiner, the astral influences of the moon help us reflect on and learn from the past, as well as develop intuitive perception. In contrast, he says that the sun helps in building the future. Steiner believed that beings live on the moon, as did his protege Max Heindel, who called them Lucifer spirits. Max says that these beings failed to move on in the previous cycle of humanity when they lived on Mars, and that they are trying to pick up the slack by enlightening our race from their abode on the moon. In other words, some people graduated to the next level, but others were left in a sort of middle ground, superior to current humanity, but held back from their class. The idea that watchers on our Earth's satellite moon may be guiding the evolution of humanity is pretty cool. But NASA tells us that the moon is a desolate, barren rock that is completely devoid of life. And we all know it is true because we saw a couple of black and white images from the 1970s. Of course, I am being sarcastic. Many points about the moon landing being staged, such as light sources and the waving flag, are very valid ones. However, I do not doubt that we landed on the moon. The US government openly tells us that information is withheld from the public when they deem it necessary. I think this is one of those times. If life was found on the moon, we are intentionally kept in the dark about it. Many ufologists talk about the conspiracy of world governments to hide the information, but an important point that is not discussed is that it is the extraterrestrials that do not want us to know what they are doing. They have the ability to let us know all about themselves whenever they feel like it. The idea of life on stars, moons, and other planets is not new. It is found in the oldest of myths, as well as the newest. Along with the gods that govern specific planets, there are also general locations above the earth where the gods reside. In Norse myth, there is Asgard, Muspelheim, Jotunheim, etc. The Roman gods lived up in Olympus. Our current names for the planets come from the Roman gods that they are associated with. These gods had temples in high, flat locations, like the Parthenon of Athena, where they could land when they wanted to guide their human worshippers. The Anunnaki moon god, Namu or Sin, had a flat-topped, stepped pyramid-like ziggurat for a palace in Ur. Every religion, including fake ones like Scientology, talk about beings from the sky. The Aetherius Society teaches that the cosmic masters like Krishna, Buddha, and Jesus came from outer space to guide humanity. Ascended masters' teachings were taught by the Theosophical Society. Urantia-Ism comes from the Urantia book that is said to have been channeled from extraterrestrials. It talks about a central paradise that is surrounded by super universes and our local universe. It also talks about various types of beings and grades of spiritual evolution within the rings of the universes. Some of these beings are called overseers, said to guide humanity. It also talks of Michael as a son of God and as the father of this part of the universe. The infamous Alister Crowley spent a night in the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza, where messages were channeled through his wife, and on another occasion he was visited by a humanoid being named Lam. Crowley drew a portrait of Lam in 1918 that resembles the modern idea of a gray alien. Interestingly, a century earlier, when the French took control of Egypt, Napoleon Bonaparte decided to spend some time in the king's chamber alone. When he came out, he was shaken with fear and refused to describe what had happened to him. The LDS prophets Joseph Smith and Brigham Young both talked about beings that live on the moon. This has been a point of ridicule over the years. According to an 1881 journal entry, Smith told church members that the inhabitants of the moon grew to 6 feet tall and lived 1,000 years on average. On one occasion, Young said the following to the church: "Who can tell us of the inhabitants of this little planet that shines of an evening, called the moon?" When you inquire about the inhabitants of that sphere, you find that the most learned are as ignorant in regard to them as the ignorant of their fellows. So it is in regard to the inhabitants of the sun. Do you think it is inhabited? I rather think it is. Do you think there is any life there? No question of it. It was not made in vain. Smith also taught that Christ has created worlds without number, which the inhabitants thereof are begotten sons and daughters unto God. D&C 7624. Smith recorded many accounts of his being visited by heavenly beings. A Christian mystic of the 1700s named Emanuel Swedenborg claimed to have been visited by beings from previous planets, including the moon. In his book Earths in the Universe, he says that there are many earths and men upon them, and spirits and angels thence, is well known in the other life. For it is there granted to every one who desires it from a love of truth, and thence of use, to speak with the spirits of other earths, and thereby to be confirmed concerning the plurality of worlds, and to be informed that the human race is not from one earth only, but from innumerable earths, and moreover to be informed what is their genius, manner of life, and their divine worship. Rumi, the famous Sufi, once said, "From these stars, like inverted candles, from those blue awnings of the sky, has come forth a wondrous people, so that the mysteries may be revealed." Another Sufi Islamic legend talks about a poor man who found a group of people and sat to eat with them. The group said to the man, "We come from a remote star, and finding that the people here had lost the knowledge of man, through our observation of their ways and their bearing, we set up a camp. We shall stay here, and instead of returning, we will institute the convention of the Zavia." The man stayed there and taught travelers, and the people from the stars split up to different parts of the world to give the lost knowledge to the various cultures in a way that is best suited for each. According to the legend, this manner of teaching continues on to this day. In the words of Jesus we read, "My kingdom is not of this world." If not of this world, then which one? He also stated, "I came from my Father into the world, and now I will leave the world and return to the Father." Which begs the question, where is the Father? And who is the Father? In Jesus' day, it was believed that the Watchers came down from Mount Hermon and mated with the women there. For this reason, Mount Hermon was forbidden territory. But this is where Jesus and his apostles were when he said, "Who do ye say that I am?" And Peter said, "The Son of the living God." Hermon is also the mountain that Jesus, Peter, James, and John climbed to the top of when they saw the glory or bright light of the gods shine on Jesus. Then, as when Moses saw Yahweh on Mount Sinai, or when the shepherds saw the angels in the air, they saw a brightly lit cloud come down and heard the voice of his Father. Immortal beings also came out to greet them. Of course, the apostles freaked out, and Jesus had to calm them down. For Jesus, it was a family visit. But for fishermen in the 1st century CE, it must have been mind-blowing. The cloud imagery shows up again when Jesus says goodbye and some angels take him up to the sky. "And after he had said these things, he was lifted up while they were looking on, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And as they were gazing intently into the sky, while he was going, behold, 2 men in white clothing stood beside them. They also said, 'Men of Galilee, why do ye stand looking into the sky? This Jesus, who has been taken up from you into the heaven, will come in just the same way as you have watched him go into heaven.'" Acts 1, 9-11. Mount Hermon was a sacred place to the Canaanites before the kingdom of Israel took it over. Most likely the home of El Shaddai, the god of the mountain. The name for the Greek god Hermes may have come from Mount Hermon as well. Currently, it is off-limits land owned by the UN. Notable scientists have also talked about our interplanetary neighbors. William Hershel argued, "Who can say that it is not extremely probable, nay, beyond doubt, that there must be inhabitants on the moon of some kind or another?" Herschel also put forth the idea of people living beneath the fiery atmosphere of the sun. Nikola Tesla believed he was in contact with beings from Mars. Stephen Hawking thought that they have yet to find us and then exploit us. The eyes of God. Moving on from beings that live on the moon, we look at some of the descriptions of the moon itself from myth. In many myths, the sun and moon are described as the right and left eye of a deity. Izanagi is the father of the gods in Shinto, and he gave birth to Amaterasu, the sun goddess, from his left eye, and Tsukuyomi, the moon god, from his right eye. Avateya is a lunar deity of the Cook Islands. He is sometimes called the father of the gods. He is also called the first man. He is a god of light, and the sun and moon are said to be his eyes. Purusha is a Hindu version of a cosmic man, similar to the Norse Ymir, Babylonian Kingu, and the Taoist Pangu. Purusha's cosmic body is called Virat, and the Purusha Sutra states that the moon takes birth from Purusha's mind and the sun from his eyes. Inuit mythology tells of a brother that chased his sister into the sky. Igaluk, the brother, became the moon, and his sister, Malina, became the sun. In Egypt, the right eye of the god Horus was equated with the sun, and the left eye was equated with the moon. As for Greece, Hesiod has described Zeus's eye as the sun. The sun and moon are spherical and appear the same size from our perspective. They also shine their light over all the earth. So these two circles in the sky make the perfect symbol of the all-seeing eyes of God. The beings on the moon are more advanced than us, and the mythical god of the moon is called by the following names. India, Soma. This moon god is also called Chandra. His name is also used for a ritual drink. Persia, Ma, and Moa, goddess and god of the moon. Zoroastrians also drink the Haoma Soma drink. Sumeria, Nana, god of the moon, son of Enlil and Ninlil. He had a temple in Ur, the home city of the biblical Abraham. Akkad, Swen, Akkadian version of Nana. Babylon, Sin, Babylonian equivalent of Nana. Canaan, Yarik, Canaanite and Phoenician god of the moon. He is married to Nikal, who is equated with the Sumerian goddess Ningal, the goddess of fruit orchards. Yarik sends dew at night. The city Jericho is named for him. Arabia, Sin. In southern Arabia, the moon god had the same name as in ancient Babylon. In the north, he was called Ruda, and in Syria, he was called Aglibol. Judea, Gabriel, lunar deity of the Elohim, adored as an angel by Jews, Christians, and Muslims, aka Jibril. Hurrians, Kasu, like Yarik, his wife's name is Nikal. Turkey, Hittites, Kasku. The Luwians called him Arma. Slavic, Jethrbog, moon god. Greece, Selene, personification of the moon, and sister of Helios, the personification of the sun. Artemis is the goddess of the moon, hunting, and chastity. Rome, Luna, Roman Selene. Diana, Roman Artemis. Etruscan, Losna, moon goddess. Celtic, Elatha, thought to be a lunar deity. He is a Fomorian and the father of Dagda. Thus, the Tuatha De Danann are a later generation of Fomorians. Norse, Mani, like Selene, is the personification of the moon. Nana is a moon goddess and wife of the solar deity Balder. Nana is also the name of the moon god in Sumerian mythology. Egypt, Khonso, moon god of Thebes. Thoth, lunar god of Hermopolis. The Egyptian word for moon is variously written in English as Ya, Ja, Ya, Yao, and Ea, which links the Egyptian moon god with the Hebrew Yahweh and the Mesopotamian Ea. Benin, Dahomey, Ma'u. The name of this moon goddess has become a word for the all-pervading god. Ma'u is also called Mahu and Yehovah, strikingly close to Jehovah. Ma'u is married to the sun god Lisa. Together they gave birth to the thunder god Shevioso. She also created the first humans out of clay. Chile, Mapuche, Cuyen, goddess of the moon, governor of the stars, Wangulen, and wife of Antu, the sun god. Peru, Inca, Mamaquilla, like Cuyen, is the sister and wife of the sun god Inti. She is described as a beautiful woman. Yucatan, Maya, Xibalanque. He became the moon, and his twin brother, Unapu, became the sun. Mexico, Aztec. Tequistecatl, along with the god Nanahuatzin, volunteered to jump in the sacrificial fire of the gods. They then became the moon and sun, respectively. Matzli is the female deity of the moon. Her other names are Yohualtiquetl and Coyolxauhqui. North America, Pa, moon goddess of the Pawnee tribe. Coyote, moon god of western tribes. Arctic Circle, Inuit. Igaluk, a male lunar deity and one of the main gods. His sister and wife, Malina, is the solar deity. Tarkup Inua is the moon god that is the spirit of the moon itself. Mongolia, Ayata, Father Moon. He travels the sky with his wife Gun Ana, Sun Mother. China, Taoism, Chang'e, goddess of the moon, married to Ho Yi, the archer solar deity. Chang'e has a lunar rabbit named Tuer Yi that links to myths of a rabbit on the moon throughout the Americas. Japan, Shinto, Tsukuyomi, the moon god son of Izanagi. The moon god of the Ainu people is called Kanechup. Australia, Balu, moon god that is chased across the sky by the sun goddess Yi. New Zealand, Maori, Fati, moon god. Hawaii, Haina, the goddess mother of Maui that ascended to the moon on a rainbow where she makes cloth out of bark.